Evening. How's everybody doing?
Good.
Doing all right.
Doing okay?
Survived the weekend.
I keep smacking my head because it's like Wednesday night, and I'm like, where'd the week go?
Right.
I'm like, so we're all feeling that, right? We're not used to them Mondays off.
No.
That's the best kind of week.
Yeah, right. No doubt about it. Whatever happened to the 4-day work week? Wasn't there talk about that?
Mm-hmm. But you would get off Friday, not Monday.
Well, they should make it optional because you got to cover phones and make sure you got people both days.
Sure.
So when one of us rules the world, we can make that change.
There you go.
I mean, you're already on that, right? You're already doing the 4 days.
Hey, you know what? Yeah. I'm not a fan of you saying that all the time. And all you're going to do is laugh?
I just speak the truth.
Hey, I put in a full day when I have to put in a full day.
I didn't say that you didn't.
Anyway,
like tomorrow's gonna be a full day.
I'm not sure where this show is going, so I'm not going to apologize either way, good, bad, or indifferent, because there's an awful lot of negativity in this, in all of these topics. And I'm going to start out with the Phillies' struggles as they continue. But as John says, hello, John. Hello, Ed. Thanks for joining us once again. And please chime in. Tell me to shut the hell up whenever you feel like it. But he's right to jump all over me. They were at this point last year. Well, last year's over. Last year doesn't count anymore. Let me bring it right to the top of the page. The Tampa Bay Rays, yeah, they got 40 friggin' wins.
Yes, they do.
40.
How many did they have this time last year?
I don't know. I'm talking about current calendar year, and the Phillies have me so upside down that I can't. Has anybody researched what they've done against the Mets?
4 straight series last year, they got swept.
Unbelievable.
Well, what have they done in this calendar year, John? We're talking about this calendar year.
They only lost one game against the Mets this year.
They picked up right where they left off.
It's only one game.
They couldn't get a player past second base.
JT was this close.
See what I mean? See what I put up with?
I got to keep you positive a little bit because everybody's going to jump off
you got
here in Philadelphia.
You need to just let me go and let me hang myself.
Wow.
I just don't. All right, and we got a lot to cover, and I promise we're gonna cover it all.
Well, but see, you were in that same spot last year, and you were able to witness this almost catch the baseball that was hit out there to send them to the World Series.
You're 1,000% correct, but
not that it's going to happen this year, but it may.
Why do we have to go through this? Why do we have players batting 200, less than 200, can't get on base to save their life?
Batting average on some of them.
Huh?
I'll take a 200 batting average for some of them.
Well, yeah. See, you know exactly where I'm going, and you don't want to agree.
No,
you want to agree
I
to
know
disagree.
I know what you mean. Yeah.
It's just I just don't understand. The manager keeps running the same lineup out there for the most part, except for the bottom 3 of the order, which they're injury replacements, basically, right?
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
Because you got a third baseman who's a utility player. You got your normal third baseman playing first base. You've got probably one of the best center fielders in all of baseball since you got him from the Oakland A's, and you won't play him every night.
Right.
You refuse to play him every night because he can't hit left-handed. But what does he do? He hits the left-handers.
Right.
So
yeah, no, it's frustrating. I'm right there with you, and it's I don't know if it's excuses or what, but it's reality in some cases too. This team's slow. Have a whole lineup of slow starters, and
It's forced me to drink during the week.
is that what your excuse is today?
Yeah, is that different?
But and I think too, I kind of joke with you a little bit about the stretching the pitchers out and stuff, but they didn't really work that hard, the pitchers in this off season, or spring training, because of having
Because of what? Because of what? Because they're afraid to get hurt.
Well, that's their mentality, and that's where it's wrong. I for lack of better words, I guess. I mean, that's that's you can't play scared or coach scared or think scared, because it ends up biting you. We talked about it. They're missing a fifth starter. And every time that fifth starter's come up this year, they're 1-9 this year. Just give me a competent one, and you're over 500 right now. And is that great? No, but you're better than 5. A better outlook on the way things are right now. If you're 4 or 5 games better.
How about that performance Sunday night? How pitiful was that?
Well, yeah. I mean, that's one of those starts. I mean, you pulled him off the waiver wire, like, you're reaching for straws, but the Dodgers don't let good players go for free.
Right.
So I mean, that was just you're hoping for a hope. I guess Christopher Sanchez wasn't ready or stretched out enough. I mean, he was player of the week, I think, for the minor leagues this week, and he could have had that start for you, and you may have felt a little bit more comfortable with if he had that laid an egg like that versus getting this guy from the Dodgers, Covey, and it was bad.
Yeah,
especially on national TV.
The Christopher Sanchez thing, rubs me the wrong way because, they very rarely use him, in a starter's role. He usually comes in and, it's kind of like, mop up minutes, and they really haven't given him a chance, like they did Ranger, and build his confidence. No, they, yank him back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
Joe's on board with, a couple of different. No, they're showing no life. The only life that they show is when they get a single and they do the thumbs up, or they do this and they do this, and I'm like, no, let's have a players meeting. Let's have the manager, lose it. It's all going in the wrong direction right now.
Yeah, it seems like across all baseball, it's almost like taboo for the managers to go crazy.
Well, because I guess
even when they come out and argue, they're tentative.
Yeah, and they get fined a lot of money for that. So
right.
They're gonna hold back, and these umpires, where they should have less control, they got more control.
Right. Oh yeah.
And that's a whole nother subject for another night, because I'm only worried about one team, and that's the Phillies.
Right.
And these struggles. I mean, Nola's got to pitch a no-hitter tonight, and hope that we score 1 run so that we can, win. I mean, that's what you're hoping for.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, the positives though, you got to look at it. Wheeler had a really good start his last out and went strong. Ranger turned it around last out and yesterday, and had a really good out, and just on the wrong end of a pitching duel there. Nola he's still struggling a little bit, and Taijuan Walker had is bounced back and had a couple nice outings.
Well, we're gonna leave the Phillies segment on this note. They can't play any worse, so these outings have to get better. So,
I think they could play worse.
I don't. Last night's it. I mean, that's the bottom of the barrel, coming back off of being off on Monday and getting your ass handed to you on Sunday night. I'm sorry, that's pitiful.
Yeah, no,
That's pitiful.
yeah, especially with the talent that they have on this team. That it
Well,
should be. Hopefully, it will be.
That's probably the whole conversation wrapped up in one. Like, can anybody get hot? Can anybody carry this team for a week?
Well, tomorrow, once the calendar flips over, Schwarber is going to be on fire. and then Wawa's going to be selling hoagies like crazy.
Well, he just got another sponsorship. He's now with Yards Beer, so he's cleaning up on the sponsorship road. So,
okay.
But anyway, the Phillies, come on, let's go. Let's get this act together. No, Brian, there's no keeping the faith. The weather's getting warmer. No. Uncle Charlie's gone. It's not hitting season. No. Like John said 2 minutes ago, this team is too good to be going through these lapses and allowing, what was it Sunday night? 2 errors on one play?
One play.
Come on. I mean, I hear you, Brian, and I'm a fan. I'm a fan. I'm a frustrated fan, but this is beyond, what anybody could. You've gone back instead of, moving ahead.
Where would you have been satisfied that the Phillies were at today?
To be probably where the Florida Marlins are in second place.
Okay. Considering all that has happened to them in this brief 2 months that they've been playing.
Well, I mean, you stop and think about it. You picked up Taijuan Walker, right? You picked up.
You also lost Andrew Painter. Go on.
Well, you didn't lose him yet. He hasn't pitched at all this year.
Right, but he was a huge prospect that the Phillies were anticipating being in the opening day lineup. They were expecting to have him as the 5th starter, and you don't have that. So now you're trying to make up for that in these bullpen games, pulling these guys off a waiver wire and a song and a prayer.
100%.
Okay, what else you got?
100%. Trey Turner, $300 million man.
Yeah, absolutely. But if you also remember when Bryce Harper came here, it wasn't guns a-blazing the minute he got here either. It took a little while. The biggest thing that I think everyone has to stop and look at is Rhys Hoskins. He provided something to that clubhouse that you are without now. We may not have seen it on TV. We may not have heard about it, but that is a clear indication that he provided something to that clubhouse that they are without now.
Okay, well, he can't play, but he can certainly hang out in the clubhouse.
Right, but he can travel with the team all the time. He's got therapies, he's got rehabs, he's got other shit to do. He can't just tote himself around to be the morale leader in the clubhouse. What I'm saying is, so Rhys Hoskins goes down, you lose him. Bryce Harper comes back, yes, early, but he seems fine. You lose Derek Hall, who's the immediate replacement for that right away. So now you've got Alec Bohm playing third base one night, first base another night. The guy can't figure out where he's got to be. And this isn't Little League anymore. We don't bounce guys back and forth from position. Everybody's got their spot and they have their role. So I think you need to cut them a little bit of slack in that they're dealing with an awful lot of injuries and a lot of unknowns that they weren't expecting to have at this point in the year. No, you don't fire Rob Thompson. You can't just fire the manager the minute shit gets hard. That makes the team look unmanageable. I heard that on WIP this morning that they were talking about what does that look like moving on from him. You can't move on from him the minute shit gets hard. Right. You ride it out. It's a long season. It's a very long season. And if you'd like, they could play like the Oakland A's, who have lost 40 games already and literally have 10 people in the stadium.
Well, my answer to that is Citizens Bank Park is packed. It's selling out. It's selling out to max capacity on most nights.
Yeah.
You've got the 5th highest payroll in baseball, John. Am I correct?
They're right up there. Yeah, within the top 5. Yeah, if not a little higher.
your expectations are high. My expectations are huge. You've got multi-million-dollar players at most positions, and they're just not showing the effort.
But don't you think that they want to go out there and win?
No.
I mean, you think that they just all go in the clubhouse and go, I'm not really feeling it today, guys.
I'll tell you what, some nights it sure looks like it. I mean, and last night was one of them. I mean, for God's sake, take a picture too. Why are you up there swinging at all that junk? I mean, you got 9 million coaches in the dugout. Somebody can't step up and say, hey, boys, let's look at a couple. Let's look at a couple before we go up there hacking.
Well,
right.
in the batter's defense last night, they should be taking more pitches because a lot of they were swung at like 42% of the pitches that were outside the strike zone. But he has that nasty forkball that everybody wants to get on their fastball, so you get them early to swing early, because once you get to that forkball, it's almost impossible to hit supposedly.
And going back to Brian Brown's comment about Charlie and hitting season, I get all that. That was fun. Right. That's fun when that happens. But when's the last game we had that? You know what I mean? When was the last game we had that? Look at the poor season JT Realmuto's having.
Yeah.
I mean, I just, I can go on and on and on for hours, and
but again,
we don't want that.
No, but again, the same thing happened last year. JT was having this slump last year, and he still ended up being the silver slugger for catchers last year. Schwarber basically had the exact same numbers this point last year, and hits everything, hits doubles, walks, strikeouts, and he ends up with 45, 48 home runs last year. Like Lauren said, Hoskins is a big key that they're missing.
I didn't realize it, but it's growing more apparent that's that is truly a situation.
I mean, he was a big leader in that locker room.
Yeah,
and,
I would have never realized it until him getting hurt and all of this happening, and you lost two first basemen and
was without Bryce Harper and Rhys Hoskins.
Right.
So you're asking an awful lot of new guys to step in and be a leader. Kyle Schwarber hasn't been here very long. Nick Castellanos hasn't been here very long. So they didn't really have any sort of guys that have been here for a while to pick that piece up. And, Harper's back now, but there's a lot of newness going on with this team. Yes, right. Has Trey Turner been very underwhelming? Absolutely. But every player goes through slumps. Every player has slow starts, including him. So overall, I think we cut this team a little bit of slack. We let them go through some growing pains, and we see what it looks like at the end of June. If we're having the same conversation at the end of June, then yeah, maybe there's some real areas of concern, but I think we let them figure it out. I think we don't assume that they go out there every night saying, if I hit it, great. If not, who cares? Because I don't think that's what it's about.
I'll check that off. We're going to
ruin Sue and Carl's night. We're not going to play tonight.
I got Lauren down for checking the end of June, and we're going to cut them slack. So I got you down for that. So.
And yes, Brian Reese is a free agent, and he better be back next year.
What is your option, Dad? You going to give up on the season? You're throwing in the towel?
No, by no means. But I can be a frustrated fan, can I?
Absolutely, you can be a frustrated fan. That's not normally your position, though. So you must have reached a boiling point here, because normally for the positivity.
I'm not seeing the enthusiasm in the dugout. I'm not seeing the enthusiasm with the at-bats. They look very lethargic. There's no, I need some rah-rah. Come on. You know what I mean? We gotta put our foot down. We can't go through this. You know what I mean? They had the Atlanta series, all to themselves to get out of Atlanta, with 3 wins, and they laid an egg there, and it hasn't been the first time. Here we are going to New York, and God, how would you like to be a Mets fan?
Right.
I mean, that's ugly too, you know? So I don't know who the rah-rah guy is. I would have thought it would have been Harper. I thought there at that one game when he came flying out of the dugout, that was gonna, the juice was gonna be flying from that game forward. But what game was that, in Colorado, John?
Yeah, Colorado. But I don't know that there is the only rah-rah guys are like Marsh and Stott, really, because everybody else.
But they're too young. They're
exactly. That's the point. Yeah, I mean,
they're too busy throwing cups of water on you after a victory.
Yeah, they're kind of like the fun committee. You sort of need like a voice that has been there that can kind of carry them through this.
Mm-hmm.
And I will end this by saying, at this time last year, we never ever expected them to be in the World Series.
Nope.
So the expectation that a team that still looks different than it did last year would all of a sudden come out and play any differently seems odd to me.
Well, I think that leads to your dad's frustration. Yeah, because you had the higher expectations coming into it. But
why? But why would you have high expectations? They weren't even supposed to be there in the first place.
They saw how well
crap before the All-Star break.
Well, no, that's what I mean. Coming into this year, that he has the expectations for this year because of last year.
Look at how well Trey Turner played in the World Baseball Classic. Right?
Because they're having fun. That's the common denominator that every single guy on one of those teams told you, that it reminded them of the fun times of playing baseball. They didn't have the pressure because if they lost, they lost.
Right. All right. Hey, real quick, while Brian Brown's still on the board, congratulations. I don't think we've spoken to you since you tied the knot. So hopefully all is well in Loveville, or as they used to say back in the day, Lovetron. That was a Daryl Dawkins reference, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm. Sounds like it.
Lovetron. But anyway, congrats.
Yep.
And thanks for joining us tonight, along with everyone else. We're going to move on. Bigger and better things, but not really, because the Sixers fired Doc Rivers one day and hired Nick Nurse 2 weeks later.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So
what's everybody thinking? Good, bad? Let's see how it plays out.
Well, yeah, it was. I mean, they got one of the top coaches, and I had said it before. I wasn't sure if they would get one of the top coaches to want to come here.
Was that one of your top ones, John?
I don't know if it's one of my top ones, but that's what he had his choice between the Suns, who were, I guess, second fiddle to the Sixers, and
he
the
was
Bucks.
offered the Milwaukee job and the Phoenix job.
Right, exactly. That's what I'm saying, and he chose us. So I mean, I didn't know that anybody would choose those other teams over the Sixers,
right?
Or the Sixers over those other teams.
Right. Yeah, I know.
Because I just thought that they had a better fit just because of not knowing. The Harden situation, not knowing Tobias Harris situation, not knowing, 5 or 6 other free agents that the Sixers have, what the team's going to look like. And you have, the Bucks that seem to have a pretty solid team. You got the, Phoenix Suns that went out and just got a bunch of guys to help that team. So you would think those would be a little bit more attractive, but he actually chose Philadelphia. Him and Morey had a connection.
Again, he has roots to Daryl Morey,
right?
So it's the old good old boy network.
Well, that's part of it. Yeah, exactly. I mean, he was coaching the G League for the Rockets, so under Morey. So it's going to be interesting. Because he's he's a good coach. He's a little tough nosed, so I don't know how the team's going to react to that, especially Embiid.
But that's who they said he was the most excited about coming here for. That was
right.
And, the reason he came here.
Yeah, no, exactly. I mean, it was,
and that's kind of what Embiid needs. He doesn't need to be coddled or babied anymore at this point. He needs that tough love, and I don't know that Doc always provided that.
No, I agree. Yeah, no, and hopefully that takes Embiid to the next level.
Yeah,
by being pushed that way. So,
hey, I'll take a coach that recently won a championship any day.
Right. Well, we had that with Doc too, but
yeah, that wasn't as recent.
Well, yeah, but yeah. Yeah, no, exactly. I mean, it's
going to be interesting to see how this, because Brian brings up, Harden, whether he'll be back or not. It's going to be interesting to see how this lineup plays out. The Sixers don't have a whole lot of options, do they?
That's the problem. They probably should let him walk, but they don't gain that $40 million back or $50 million. They're only going to get a $12 million exemption player that they can replace them with. So, yes, you're going to get a little bit of flexibility, but you're going to lose the caliber of player, I guess. But
well, they're already talking about the point guard up in Toronto, Fred Van Fleet, I believe is his name.
Yeah, I mean that's not a. I mean, again, with the team that you have, you just need somebody to control the court.
Right.
I mean, it would be nice to have a Lowry type of guy, come in, a few years younger. Obviously, he's 37 years old, but
yeah, I wanted him a couple of years ago.
Right.
He played up there for Nick when he was with Toronto.
Yeah,
he's a nice bench piece.
Right. Have a guy that can control the court. Settle it down when things get a little out of whack, and let Maxey flourish a little bit more with Embiid. It's going to be interesting, and I think he's going to have a little bit more of a different offense than Doc did. So I think that hopefully will benefit the Sixers as well.
Does anybody find it interesting that the announcement hasn't come out of the Sixers locker room yet? I mean, they have not had a press conference. They have not made the announcement that this is all coming from hearsay on ESPN.
Well, not really. I mean, I feel like they sort of hang, the media kind of finds out about stuff before the teams have a chance to. So, no, it'll happen in the next couple of days.
Is there anything because of the finals, like taking the luster away from the finals, that they can't really announce things?
That might be part of it. That might be a good point. They might have to at least wait until that stuff happens. But I don't think, is there a concern that it won't happen? No, I don't think so. I think, the Sixers just have to, I guess, cross all the T's and dot all the I's.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So,
well, what do you think, though, Lauren? Because you're the big Sixers fan here.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I'm enthusiastic that he won recently, and took that team. Prior to that, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think the Toronto Raptors were really.
Yeah.
They were kind of a blah team.
Right.
They got a couple of good pieces, and then he was able to work his magic. So I'm hoping that magic works here in Philly too, and we'll see what happens. I mean, if they do let him Harden walk, I'd be interested in, who does that replacement look like, and does that positively impact Joel then? Because now, that whole ball sharing thing, hogging for who's the better player kind of goes away, but it depends on who they bring in.
Yeah.
Well, so I don't know.
Who was up there in Toronto? Wasn't that the year of the doink against us?
Kawhi Leonard. Yeah.
Kawhi is there anything left there for Kawhi? Where's he at? He's in where? San Antonio?
Yeah, that's a good call. I'm not sure. I think he is somewhere out west, but I'm not sure.
I guess there's not much left there to bring him to Philly, right?
No. Yeah, I don't think so. I don't think
Going
so.
to be interesting, especially if if Harden does leave. As far as who I mean, when Harden's good, he's good. He's really good.
Oh
you
yeah,
know, but when he's bad, he's equally bad.
right.
Kind of like the Phillies.
Kind of like, not kind of, but just like the Phillies.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I don't know that you can have
game six that we were at. Yeah, just like that.
I don't know that you can have a Kawhi Leonard type of player onto this team at money wise, because I don't think I think he'll be wanting more. If Harden's going to be able to get $50 million a year, Kawhi Leonard's not going to be playing for.
Well, I think Morey's got a lot of work to do. I think he needs to get a hold of Howie Roseman's playbook
Yeah,
on how to make these contracts work and rework them a third and fourth time. I know basketball's a lot different than football, but there's got to be a way out when you're this close. Because you certainly don't want to rebuild, and by bringing in Nick Nurse, that tells you right there they're not in a rebuild mode.
no,
So
you can't. I mean, unless they get rid of Embiid, you're not in a rebuild mode because
right.
him and Maxey on the court alone is just going to make you, that seventh, eighth type of seed alone, without any other extra pieces.
Well, you got Miami, you got the Nuggets. Any interest there? Any root of either team from you guys?
No.
None. Could care less, right?
I'd like to see Miami do it because of Jimmy Butler.
I guess.
But it's not like, oh my gosh, I'm got to see them win. But if there's
it's ironic, that the Joker here he is going into the finals, and he won the MVP last year, and he was runner up this year, and all the talk's been about Embiid, and he's like, okay, I'll just take my ball and go to the finals.
Right. Yeah. I mean, he's playing well. But they also have, and that's where Embiid's got to take a little bit of a hopefully watching the series. Or playoffs really, he gets his whole team involved.
Right.
It's just not him.
Right.
He can take over when he has to, but he gets everybody involed.
Right.
That's why.
And he's got some great role players on that team too.
Oh, of course.
You know what I mean? So,
but I think if you get Tobias Harris more involved, you get Maxey more involved, you get, the other, who was the other shooter that they had?
Tucker.
Yeah. Well, you get those guys involved, on a more consistent level. Are they going to be 30-point scorers? No, but they're going to be contributors that,
right.
You added up. I mean, just look at the Miami Heat with Martin and Vincent.
Yep.
I mean, Jimmy Butler, probably shouldn't even have been the MVP of the series. It should have been Martin. The way he took over the last couple of games.
Yep.
And
it's a good point.
It just and Butler was hurting a little bit. You could see he wasn't 100%, but he got everybody else involved.
Yep.
And it wasn't when he needed to, he took over. But that's what Embiid's got to learn. It's like you gotta, and I think hopefully that helps with when Harden gone, because it seemed like Harden and Embiid just said, okay, it's you and me, and everybody else can go into the corner and we'll win. We'll figure it out how to win, and hopefully,
all right,
without Harden, maybe they'll spread the ball around with everybody.
So I guess free agency opens up after the finals. I don't know.
Yeah, it's like a week afterwards or so.
Right.
To give the free agents to be able to sign with their team if they could. Yep.
All right. Okay. All right. Well, that's two down. The Flyers, I guess, since our last show, well, I think we knew about Danny Briere, and I think we were really surprised about the hiring of Jonesy,
yep.
As the president of hockey operations. I mean, I thought I knew a little bit about something, but I saw that one just come out of nowhere. It's going to be interesting to see what those two young execs can now do. I'm petrified at the fact that Danny Briere has already made public that he's open to trading just about anybody, and that includes Carter Hart. So that kind of ruffled my feathers right away.
Isn't that just GM speak though? Like,
Is it? Is it?
Yeah.
Where there's smoke, there's fire.
But did you think that he was an untouchable?
He's probably one of maybe 2 or 3 pieces on the team that I would certainly want to build around. Yes.
Okay.
Because it takes a number of years to make a goaltender good. I'll give you an example. His name is Bob, and his last name is Bobrovsky, and he's going to the Stanley Cup Finals.
Mm-hmm.
And he also was here in Philadelphia, and we had him, as an up-and-coming goaltender, and, we got rid of him. And I just don't like that idea. You know what I mean? That just doesn't, well, I mean, you're going to go through growing pains, no doubt. You know what I mean? But how often do these young goaltenders come along? And what are you going to get back in return?
Well, that's the thing. I mean, but saying that doesn't mean that he's going to be traded, one, and then two, it doesn't mean he's going to be traded for a bag of donuts either. It's if somebody comes to you and gives you 3 top scorers for Carter Hart, are you going to say no?
Well, I guess it would depend on, what the situation was, what the contracts look like.
Well, of course, yeah. I mean, everything's on that, but I'm saying, but if you got, three quality pieces back, and I'm talking quality, like not just, a 4th line player, you're talking, two guys that are, up there in scoring leaders, that you're getting back in return for them. And, they say, here, take them, and we want Hart,
Jack's already jumping on the calendar here, that we wouldn't even get 2 first-round picks for Carter Hart. I don't know. I mean, you send him up to Ottawa, to his hometown. You send him to Montreal, where they're, they like those good young goaltenders. I just think, I don't think that's a good way to start, a team rebuild by getting rid of your best player.
I also think I'm sure you read the actual quote, but he didn't say, I'm open to trading Carter Hart. He said, if teams call, of course I will listen to their offer. And I think the media has a very funny way of twisting words a little bit to sell some headlines that he said, we're open to trading Carter Hart. That's not exactly what he said. He said, if a team calls, of course he'll listen to their offer, because why wouldn't he? He would be doing a disservice to the Flyers to not listen to the offers. And I think what the media in Philadelphia tends to do, because they know how reactionary we are, Danny Briere is open to trading Carter Hart. And here we are talking about this.
I think there would be another way around that by, there are only a few guys on my team that are untouchables. And he didn't. I
don't know that would suffice to Flyers Nation, because much like I said in the last show we did that there wasn't anyone on the Sixers I considered untouchable, I'm guessing there's a lot of Flyers fans that also think no one on that team is untouchable.
Well, I mean, for as bad as they are, and I mean, I don't know what the total rebuild. I mean, you look at the Rangers. The Rangers turned things around pretty quick. They got a good draft. I don't know. You look at their situation, if they had been healthy, how much better would they have been? It would have been, would have things been as bad as they were?
Why does that apply to the Flyers but not the Phillies?
Say this again.
Why does that apply to the Flyers but not the Phillies?
Well, I like your spin.
I'm just curious because I hear that, a lot. I see those comments all the time. Well, if the Flyers were healthier, how much better could they have been? Well, the Phillies are also pretty banged up and have, these sort of nagging injuries, but yet we want to ride their ass because they should be so much better.
Well, I think a lot of it is, the way they're playing. And I don't want to go backwards and get back into the Phillies.
Sure.
Because we were doing such a great job of moving forward.
Okay.
The Flyers are, it's going to be interesting to see the direction that the new management team puts this team in on the ice. Like Jack said, there's a few other pieces that need to go, but, trading Carter Hart would be the easiest thing to do. And I think he's more desirable than what Jack's given him credit for, because I think good young goalies, are going to carry a nice price tag, and, the Flyers have some young talent. They just need to build around it. And I'm just hoping from a personal standpoint that Carter Hart's still in goal. That's, simply my, just like John wants Reese Hoskins signed to a 10-year extension and retire a Philly, and, all is good in, Philly land, I'm a desirable Carter Hart fan.
I think we all are as Flyers fans. I think we all are. Danny
Briere has to, he's got to watch what he says and how he says it in Philadelphia. Because yes, things are going to be taken out of context for sure.
Right. Yeah. Like I said, like Jack's saying right there, I think that's how all us feel. Everybody wants Carter Hart here because, like you said, he's young. So, in 3 or 4 years from now, when the team actually is built properly, he will be that much, better in his prime to be able to lead them to a championship. But I mean, who are the other 1 or 2 players that you think are untouchable?
Well, probably Konechny's one. Travis is probably your biggest, your biggest attraction. I think you got a couple young guys in Morgan Frost.
Mm-hmm.
You got, and I was kind of hoping he was going to make the next step and come out of juniors. Is that Cutter? What's his last name? Gunther. Good young, talented player, but I guess he's going to go back to school and, take another year to develop. And Gunther, how do you pronounce it?
Yeah.
GA, is Coots officially done? I don't know about Couturier.
They're saying he's coming back.
He hasn't played in 2 years, so I don't think he's a piece moving forward in his mid-30s. But they've got some young pieces. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be really interesting to see, how they draft Guccier. Thank you.
Yeah.
Guccier. Good young, promising kid. But we have a way of wrecking those careers here in Philadelphia. So,
yeah, and like you said, it doesn't mean I think anybody's tradable for the right trade, but it's just
I agree.
That's the whole point. I mean, and yeah, we all throw Carter Hart there and like, no, you can't trade him. Well, no, you can't, you shouldn't. Let's put it that way, unless it's the perfect trade that you're getting.
Well, Jack's on board with, the next goalie, Erickson, Sam Erson. Could be just as good, if not better. Who knows? I don't know. I just, I just look at it like.
I'd like their first move to name a captain, give this team some identity, make somebody the guy, give this team some leadership. So if Konechny is untouchable and he's definitely here for next year, then give him the C. But I think the first step is really just starting to identify
I agree.
who pieces are in the organization and start building around them.
I agree. I'm on board with you. I'm on board. But it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting to see how this team develops.
Yeah. Oh no. I mean, yeah.
There's definitely some bad contracts, but how do you get out from them? Those contracts are difficult. They either have to expire or, you end up having to trade them to somebody and give up something to have that team eat them.
Well, if they're going into a rebuild type of situation, you get rid of them and eat the money, and you're going with young players. So the money's going to be kind of a wash. You're not replacing them with for a year type of thing. And you just unload it. What's another year in a rebuild right at the moment here? You eight 4 or 5 contracts and move on. It was a mistake. You got to move on, and they're gone. Don't give up any more of your good player, young players, just to be able to make it work. Eat the money, and rebuild with young.
But as Jack says, the number 7 pick in the draft will be a good player. We've got a lot of good players, and it just seems like it takes 5 years for them to develop, and turn into good caliber players, that can help you at the the major league level. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be really interesting. So fingers crossed. We'll see what happens.
Exactly. Oh yeah.
It's going to be an interesting summer. So, we got the Phillies with their struggles. We got the Sixers retooling and re-identifying who they are under a new coach. We got the Flyers in a, new management capacity for Danny Briere and Keith Jones. We'll see where they go. The best team in town still seems to be the Philadelphia Eagles. No?
99 days away. 99 days away. 14 weeks in 1 day.
Hey, correct me if I'm wrong. The OTAs, they're just, they go through the motions. They don't, no pads, no helmets, no nothing. They just go through the exercise, and they did the same thing last year.
Yeah, well, just like the Eagles or the Phillies, not taking things too intensely. The Eagles are in that same format that everything's just like kind of glorified walkthroughs, I guess. Just to keep everybody healthy, and it'll be interesting to see. But I think that Nolan Smith guy, everybody's going to like him here in Philadelphia, the way he talks. If he can back up what he talks, he's an intense player, and from what he was talking, and because people asked him about coming up and playing in the cold, he's like, I don't even think about it. You get warmed up by knocking somebody on their butt. So he seems to be a guy that everybody's going to rally around here in Philadelphia, I think, which hopefully will be nice to see. Being a young player that he is. But yeah,
going to be interesting. Interesting. What are your thoughts on the wide receiver Andre Hopkins? You a buyer? You a buyer?
If the price is right, of course you got to be. But I think he's going to either go to Kansas City or Buffalo, though.
Well, before you go there, are there enough footballs in Philly for him and Devontae and AJ? I mean, you're talking about 3 top
Oh
wide receivers.
Well, plus you got Goddard, you got Jalen Hurts himself, and DeAndre Swift, and the other guy that they got from Seattle. No, that'd be a big problem, yes, but it's a good problem to have.
Okay.
You put DeAndre Hopkins on the outside and make Devontae Smith the slot guy, and he could take advantage of a lot of linebackers in the slot. So yeah, I mean, it's fantasy football at that point if you do get them.
Right.
Do they need them? I don't know that you need them. He's not the do or die for the season, but if you could get him on this team, sure, why not?
Well, he signed with the same agency as Devontae Smith.
Well, there you go.
So I just threw that out there. I don't know what that means, but
Yeah, I mean it'll be interesting to see. Like I said, I just think the Eagles have a couple. The Chiefs, are in the same situation. They were in the Super Bowl, won the Super Bowl last year. They got Patrick Mahomes to throw to, and they don't have a number 1 wide receiver where the Eagles have, in reality, two other number 1 wide receivers already. You got, plus you got Goddard and stuff. So I mean, there's a lot of balls to be spread around, but
right.
All
right.
That'll make Jalen Hurts' job that much more funner for him to be able to go. Who do I pick? Who do I pick to throw to today?
Right.
On this play, because you can't double up everybody.
Who's going to win fantasy football for me this week?
Right. Exactly. And that's the thing. Tyler and I were talking about it the other day. If that happens, you can't pick an Eagles wide receiver. You just got to pick Jalen Hurts because it's going to be spread around so much on those guys. They're not going to get a lot of fantasy points, but the team's going to get a lot of points.
Sure.
Type of thing. That would be fun and interesting to see happen. I don't know that that's reality. But that would be.
All right.
I would love to go to war with that team if that was the case.
For sure.
With the young defense being built up that they have, I think that would be nice to see.
Lauren, is Anthony hiding in the green room, or he's a no-show tonight?
He is not hiding in the green room.
Well, I'm going to hand off Baseball Town talk to you because you're the closest to the situation. And I was out there Friday night with you. We had our sponsorship night and quite a crowd, over 8,000 people. And I understand that they've been drawing really, really well. I guess good weather will do that.
Good weather will definitely do that. They do a really great job of getting tickets out there to folks, just getting people into the stadium versus making revenue off of their ticket sales, which is a different approach than most places. But they handle a lot of stuff in-house, like internally. So like their food is handled by them internally. So just by getting people into the ballpark, the minute you buy food, that's kind of how they recoup passing out free tickets. So they do a really good job with that stuff. So yeah, it was packed Friday night. It was even more crowded Saturday night, and then just as crowded Sunday. So I'm hearing lingering rumors that it was a record-breaking homestand for them, especially for those 3 games. So
wow, yeah. It was fireworks Friday night. It was fireworks Saturday night. It was Harry Potter night, correct?
Yeah, Saturday night, Harry Potter and fireworks. And then Sunday was you get to run the bases. So that's for not just kids. Anyone can run the bases. So people like that, and obviously had a little extra time to do all that because they didn't have to go to work the next day. I was working in the store Sunday night, and they line up along the first base side to run the bases. The line for that was all the way to the front gate. Wow. So if you've ever been to Reading, I mean, you're talking a pretty lengthy line. You're talking all the way from first base to the front gate was the end of the line. So people were definitely into that. But now they are technically off this week, so there's no home games, but they will start back up Tuesday, and then they have 2 homestands back to back, which are filled with lots and lots of things. One of the nights that I'm the most excited about is they're doing a tribute to Penn State Saturday night, so that should be a really fun game. I think Nick Singleton is there, but I may be talking out of turn. This is where having Anthony would be helpful. But I feel like I heard that he would be making an appearance. So that'll be cool. And they always have really fun promotions set up. So lots of good stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
How was Harry Potter night?
It was good. Yeah, it was really good. I don't know that it is as cool as it was when it first started.
Okay.
When they first started doing it back in like 2017 or 2018. But I think that has a lot to do with there's nothing really new that's been released by Harry Potter. So it kind of goes with sort of the trend of what's popular at the moment.
Right.
So I think that's got a little bit to do with it. But I enjoy it. Scott Hunsaker, the GM, walked by me Sunday night and said, "How'd you enjoy Harry Potter night?" So I'm not sure if they just do it for me. Or if, they actually, make a couple bucks off of it. So either way, it was good. So hopefully it's back again next year.
And the Philly Fanatic was there on Sunday as well?
He was. Yep. He was there on Sunday. And I didn't get to see him at all because, like I said, I was working in the store, but I heard he entertained the folks like only the Philly Fanatic can do.
Nice.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's cool. It's cool. They do a great job, and it's good to see them be rewarded with packed house because they certainly do get the word out, and I can witness the food lines were long, the beer lines were just as long, so they're doing a great job, and our presenting sponsor, City Distilling, is out there this year, and I saw many a sips being, carried around. So,
now they have the teas. So now they have the canned iced teas up there too.
Oh, they do.
Yeah, they have
very
the
nice
teas up there as well. So they still have the 2 City sips, the Cosmo and the Blue Lemonade, but now they do have the City teas in the cans.
Very nice. That's cool. That's very cool. So Jamie's doing a hell of a job, and Anthony. Closing segment to the show is what's going on at Carl's Cards and Collectibles, and I guess it all starts tomorrow night with Jamie Moyer, 2008 World Series champion Jamie Moyer.
Yeah.
Solderton's own Jamie Moyer. So he's a local guy, and I know we've had a lot of phone calls and a lot of interest. Pre-sales have been extremely strong. Lauren, I don't know this fact to be true, but is this his first time back in a very long time?
I believe so. So last year he was at the Reading Hot Stovers banquet. So that was probably his first sort of public appearance in a while. I mean, years at this point. So that's not necessarily advertised as a public autograph signing. So I think this is his first signing sort of back in the Philadelphia area and probably at least 5 or 6 years, I would say, if not longer.
Yeah. I don't, I don't follow it as close as I used to. I probably should. But I'm looking forward to Jamie, finally somebody, closer to my age. How old did we say he was, John? 61?
60 years old. He's going to be turning 61 this year, but he's 60 right at the moment.
So I'm still the oldest guy in the room. That's okay.
Got to keep the streak alive.
That's okay.
Until the 10th of June.
That's right. You're definitely not older than him.
Then who?
Then Rick Wise.
Rick Wise. Yes. Did he call me back today? Because I didn't see that call.
No, he did not call back yet.
Hey,
No.
that's old age. Must have forgot.
So
the time difference.
Yeah, so we've got a lot of baseball planned at the store as well. You guys can learn all about it at carlscards.com. But tomorrow night, Jamie Moyer, 6:30 to 8:30. There are some tickets still available, but probably by the time the store opens tomorrow at 11, the line will be forming. So
Right.
should be interesting. And then Rick Wise, our good old boy from the 64 Phillies. He was a rookie that year, right, John?
He was. Yeah.
64 Phillies, Rick Wise. He'll be with us June 10th.
Yep.
So we got that going on. Then we slide up the street to Hanrahan's Irish Pub for Dan Baker on June the 14th. So that should be an interesting night as well. We'll be celebrating.
He was great when we had him before.
Yeah. He doesn't remind me of the same guy you hear down at the stadium.
No.
He will surprise you a little bit. And make sure you get there early because there's going to be a crowd of Drexel people coming. So
oh boy,
is what I'm hearing. So
all right,
I don't know how big it's going to be, but there'll be a crowd of Drexel people coming.
And we're not talking about Emily and Henry.
No.
Okay.
No,
because they are Drexel people too.
Well, there you go. Well, not them, but yeah, we have some Drexel people coming down to see them. So.
Sweet.
All right. On that note, that gets us through almost mid-June. We got a lot going on. We're here, there, and everywhere. We're back out in baseball town for our sponsorship nights. Things are going really well out there. So we're looking forward to a lot of cool things this summer. So on that note, John, Lauren, closing comments.
Mikal Bridges is at the Phillies-Mets game tonight, sitting first row with a Phillies jersey on, and I just imagine playing for the Nets. That must really frustrate New York fans.
That's crawling up their crawl for sure. Yeah, you know what? I'd gladly go pick him up in Brooklyn if he wants to come play in Philly.
Exactly. Yeah. He would be nice.
He would be he'd be a nice addition.
Yep.
Yes,
so good for him. Props to him for sporting the Phillies.
Who is it that plays for the Eagles but wasn't a Sixers fan but was maybe as a Boston fan and was at that series? Do you guys remember?
Devontae Smith.
That's right.
Yeah.
Devontae Smith.
I like it when it works the other way. I don't like it when it's one of our own not being a fan of the Sixers.
Especially when Tatum hits the game-winning shot and he has to go up to him and say hi to him. Yeah. That doesn't. That just rubs us off.
I don't like when it works the other way. And Anthony is here now, so he giggled at me as soon as I said I don't like when it works the other way.
Well, Thanks for being late to the party.
Oh, Tony. He said some of us got to work.
I understand. When I come back, I want your job.
He said, no, you don't.
All right. Guys, gals, everybody who joined us tonight, thank you. Have a great rest of the week. Tomorrow's Thursday already.
Yeah.
So enjoy it, embrace it. The weekend's right in front of us.
Keep the faith. It's June 1st. The Phillies are coming around.
Shut up, John.
Get your Wawa hoagies too and everything. It's all good.
John, shut up.
John, you just got to end it on that note.
All right. See you later.